Hi and welcome to Simple Logistics channel. So today we are going to discuss the closing of a port terminal in China due to COVID-19 outbreak there. So Ningbo-Zhoushan, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, is the third largest port in the world right now. It's near Shanghai in China. Um, it's a new port. It was built to kind of replace or complement the Shanghai port. Shanghai port is really uh, somewhat inland, uh, so somewhat distant from the sea, and the river there is not very deep. Makes maneuvering the all the ships coming in and out kind of difficult. So they just simply decided to build a new port on a deep sea port near Shanghai, but not on the river mouth. It's on a protected piece of land, but is on the sea. So Ningbo-Zhoushan is a really important port because it's new. The infrastructure there, especially in the container terminal, is very good, it's very efficient. So all brand new equipment. So closing this terminal represents a really, really big problem for shipping industry everywhere. Container ships were scheduled to load or unload at this port will have to be diverted to either the old Shanghai port or in some other port in China. These will cause more delays, more backlogs. The other ports will be probably operating over their capacity. So it's a really tough situation. So why did China close the port? It was just one case of COVID-19. And the thing is, this one case was the Delta variant. So Chinese authorities are being really tough on COVID-19 isolation measures, and they are particularly worried about the Delta variant. So they don't want the reintroduction of COVID-19 in China. They were able to quash the outbreak in China. You know, the cases are zero there right now. But the neighboring countries, like India, for example, have huge number of cases, especially because the Delta variant is somewhat more contagious. So they don't want this problem in China. For this reason, they have been closing airports and ports every time a new case appears there. So a couple of months ago, it was the Yantian port. They did the same thing. They closed the port. They did contact tracing with the employees, PCR tested everybody, told everybody to stay home until they had the results. They are really being tough to crack any outbreak before it gets out of hand. I, personally feel that the Chinese authorities are handling well this. I agree with their handling of these new outbreaks. If I were some kind of authority, I would probably try to do the same. We know that Western countries, for example, they don't have all the power that Chinese authorities do, especially to restrict people's circulation. So it's harder to do that in Western countries. but I think they are taking the right approach. I would expect more countries to do something similar to that, but we don't see many countries using this approach. That's why we see, new outbreaks and new waves of COVID-19 everywhere. Just drags on the all the problems, all the economic uncertainty that we had over these past year and a half. It's really not good a good situation, but nothing that we can do. As far as logistics goes, logistics is going to be affected, as I mentioned, because shipping industry, shipping lines, they were already on the edge. We are again near the Chinese New Year. Companies are already buying stuff, to fulfill their stocks for the end of year sales in North America and Europe. So you have high demand. It's been high since since the start of the pandemic. We don't have that much capacity. So every time there is a new problem, like the Suez Channel that was blocked by the Ever Given ship, or the Yantian port that was closed, or now that the Ningbo-Zhoushan port was closed, that is a big problem, and that has a big ripple effect throughout logistics. So we have more delays, we have less transportation capacity um, in the shipping industry as a whole. We have less empty containers available to pick up material, and we will probably have higher costs again. So, not great for logistics as well. Uh, the effect tends to be limited because it's a temporary closing. Pretty soon, the terminal will be reopened. But as I said, these problems are mounting, and the shipping industry just hasn't been able to address all these problems and to improve their capacity or to improve service level. So we are still going to have problems with sea transport for a while, at least until next year. We are going to remain with limited capacity and higher prices. So, as I mentioned in other videos, if you have the alternative of local suppliers, if you can develop local suppliers, do that. It will pay off because the situation is not going to be back to normal in 1 or 2 months. It will take much longer than that. If you can develop local suppliers, you are improving your resiliency, and on the short term, maybe even you're going to save something because the freight costs have been much more expensive for some destinations, especially South America. The delays also have a cost for companies in North America and Europe. You can have supply chain disruptions. You can delay delivery to your customers and even lose customers. So if you develop local suppliers and avoid those delays, it also has other added benefits to you. So think about it. and consider if your volume and the product weight is not very high, consider using the air transport out of China instead of the sea transport, because again, the situation of sea transport wasn't very good before this port closing, and it's not going to get back to normal anytime soon. So we have to be creative and to find alternatives so our companies can remain operational and remain profitable. Okay. Okay, this was what I had for today. Thank you very much. Bye.